Hey there, hola amigos y amiguitos. Here I am on a late November day. It's kind of cold and it's hard to get outside. Can't even really limber up your fingers. So I'm indoors. I'm going to try to construct a series of demonstrations maybe when the sun decides to come back out and things heat up. But when I do that, I won't have as much occasion to explain what I'm doing. So maybe I'm going to do that right now. I've been working here at smallballsuccess.com on kinds of swing that incorporate what I think was the style of yesteryear, of the Deadball era. And again, as I've said so many times, those guys, Cobb, Speaker, Hannes Wagner, Fred Clark, they were all in the Hall of Fame, by the way. A lot of super hitters, guys who could get 600 at-bats in a year, flirt with 400, and strike out half a dozen times. How did they do that? Well, they were hitting a dead ball. They weren't small guys, necessarily, even by today's standard. They were all around 6 feet. But because they were hitting a dead ball, they had to hit low-line drives and try to get it over the infielder, as opposed to hurl themselves into the pitch and drive it over a fence. When you're playing with a ball that's about as mushy as a cantaloupe, that's just not going to work. So they had devised a method of swinging straight down on the ball. There's so many things that I could say about this and what I've learned about just by using farm implements in the last few months. There's so many ways in which that kind of motion generates a lot of power in a confined space, and I've found that over and over again. And of course, with our power tools today and with the things we do in the gym to work on specific muscle groups and all that, we kind of forgotten the lessons of the farm. But everything that I do incorporates this sort of stroke that goes slightly down into the pitch, and this requires you to shift your weight 100% if you can onto the forward foot. You're swinging slightly down, but you're not, this is where everybody gets it wrong, who laughs about, why would you want to swing down on the pitch? Well, you're not swinging down on it in a loopy, really wild, long swing. You're keeping your hands pretty close to your body. You might move them out here as Ty Cobb did, away from your body, but I mean you're not taking them way back beyond your rear shoulder, and you're using the bottom hand to sort of pull the lever near the knob, and your top hand is just driving through. You do that again with so many farm implements, and that's the essence of this swing. Now, let me try to get a little more traction on this floor. I'm going to go barefoot here. I'm going to show you 3 different versions of this swing that in practice have worked well for me, and I'm still discovering things about this stroke. This is the most simple version of it, where you just kind of lifting the foot up as you drop the barrel, and then as the pitcher starts forward, you start forward. I kind of like doing a little squish the bug with the forward foot, not the back foot, but get here a little early. Notice my hands are still not rising above the letters here. Still got the hands low, because what has to come down on the ball is the barrel. I don't have to come down on the ball with my hands from up above. It's the barrel that descends into the ball. So I get here, and then at this point, as I step into the pitch, only then, as I shift my weight forward, is my bottom hand levering outward. My top hand is pretty loose right now, and then I pull the bottom hand in, and that's when the top hand gets tight again too. The top hand tightens up when I drop it and I lift that foot. Tight top hand. Foot's down, now the top hand loosens up and the bottom hand sort of takes over. I'm shifting my weight, top hand is in control, bottom hand loose. Now I'm going down on the pitch and into it. Top hand's tight, bottom hand's kind of tight too, and I follow through. I may even just carry off my back foot entirely. I think that's pretty basic, but it's also kind of, I don't know, I can see how, especially a youngster might find that kind of complicated. There are a lot of places that you could lose your balance there. And one of the things that worries me about that a little bit is, what if the pitch is riding inside and you're trying to get out of the way? Well, it's almost impossible. You just, I don't know how you'd get out of the way of a pitch. I like this version better, and I've actually seen guys in old baseball cards, they're holding the bat like this, and they're actually going to do a little hop step. And this is like some kind of weird little dance, but I have my top hand real loose, and then I tighten it up, and as I do that, I pull in with my back foot and shift immediately to my front foot. Now I originally didn't like that, and in Landing Safeties, my most recent book, I say that I experimented with that, and we decided, well, it looks like the head's going up a little bit too much. But judge for yourself, is my head popping up as I do this? Not very much. And I mean, I'm doing that as the pitcher is breaking his hands. The ball is not in the air yet. And the bat is still not carrying way up and back above the shoulder. It's staying, my hands are staying pretty much letter high. So now I can, again, lift my foot, and my hands here, I'm noticing that they're not really so much as with the other swing. The hands are not, the bottom hand is not going out as the foot goes up. I'm going to wait, since I've got this foot a little higher, it seems like I can balance a little better. I'm going to wait until I start to step down, and then I'm really going to let that top hand go up, and then the same thing as before. Bottom hand drives hard, grips the top hand, grips the bat, drives hard, bottom hand levers in. But I like this because it really is, you know, it's not as complicated as it looks. It actually, I think, gives me a better sense of balance. It seems like right here I'm just stopped dead in the water, but there's still a little bit of forward energy that I can tap into, especially by, you know, moving that foot. I can deliver my energy right into the ball at the very instant that I need to. And again, foot down, bottom hand up. This is a little more like the swing that you guys are familiar with, where you stretch the rubber band. Only, again, I'm not, you know, foot down early, get that hand back. That's not what we're doing. The hand is going out, but not way up and way back. And I don't want to exaggerate that motion. We still are going to let the barrel of the ball, the barrel of the bat fall into the ball. We're not worried about getting the hands way up here. We don't want them way up here. And I can, if the pitch rides in, for some reason, I feel that it's much easier for me to get out of the way of it. I have more flexibility this way. I can also possibly step to where I see the pitch coming. So many guys have heard that claim that's at least as old as Fred Clark in the late 19th century, that they could step to see where they saw the pitch coming and go chase it. And they'd say, well, that's impossible. Once you see that, if you're waiting to deliver your stride to where you see the pitch coming, you're going to be swinging at it when the catcher's throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Can't do it. That's ridiculous. Well, it's really not this way. And as I originally thought that was maybe too complicated for young hitters, but now I think maybe that's the least complicated swing. This is more complicated, although it's the one that I like best. It's a little refinement of what I just showed you. I'm still starting with the bat out here. I'm going to kind of draw the bat in, not much, but a little bit as I step forward to the back foot. Looks like I'm going to drop a bunt, drag a bunt, and then I do what I was doing just a minute ago. The foot goes up and the bottom hand goes out. I'm pulling that lever back. Bottom hand is tightening up, top hand loose, then top hand tightens up, bottom hand is tight. It's pulling in as the top hand goes down. Very much without the, without the Thai cob thing. I've never gotten used to that, but otherwise I think this is very much like Thai cob at this point. This is what he was doing. And again, you can step to where you see the ball come. You really can. I think you really can. I'm going to try it when I get better weather and I can set up my pitching machine. And maybe you can see from the screen that although I'm taking that downward stroke with the parallel reverse motion of the hands, it actually turns out, because my weight is shifting forward almost 100% or completely 100%, that's turning into a very level swing. Now I've heard recently some instructors say hitting is about your feet and about your weight shift. It's not about your hands. Sorry, in this technique, it's so much about your hands. And I was just watching video of Harvey Keene the other day, who was, in his day, he kind of aged quickly, unfortunately, but he was a Rookie of the Year, I think, in '53 or sometime back then. And old Harvey was taking batting practice, and that bottom hand was just constantly working. It was loose, and then when he got ready to swing, it was tightening up. Be aware of what your hands are doing as you reach different points of the, tight to pump the bat, and then loose, and this one's tightening up as the lever goes out, and then they're both tightening up. Be aware of that and work on it. The action of the hands in this swing is just super important.